This is the fastest factory pickup truck ever made. The Ram TRX was made for only one purpose, to kill the Ford Raptor. I mean, kill it. Kill it dead. It has 702 horsepower. It drives over absolutely anything. It's nicer inside than most supercars. The Raptor is a racing truck. The TRX is a Hellcat. Okay, let's do that again. (702 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque, 8 gears. And even though these tires are all 13 inches wide, and that's gigantic by any measure, if you have the stability control off, you'd be going that way. That lovely little sound you hear, it's an evil dentist drill, and I should know because I'm due for some cavities next month. Ugh. But I much prefer the sound of this one because that's the supercharger, and you always hear it. It's a big deal for Hellcat owners. For some reason, I mean, I know the reason. These guys want to hear it. They just do. Some people were complaining that the Jeep Trackhawk muted the sound too much. I think Ram must have listened because they turned up the volume on this one. We're about to hit a Ford. There's 8 driving modes in the TRX, and you can configure them right here on the touchscreen or these buttons down here. No matter which mode though, you get 13 inches of suspension travel at every corner. That lets the Ram fly and then land like it never left. That's how soft and smooth this thing really is. And in sport mode, you can disable the stability control entirely. Mercedes-AMG doesn't even let you do that on the G63. I mean, if you flip this thing, it really is your fault. Yet the TRX can be docile. It's only going to overwhelm you when you want it to. And part of that really has to do with the suspension tuning. As hardcore as this thing is, to jump off rocks and dunes, and honestly, I could just drive into the ditch over here and come out, not going to do that. That's what it's designed to do. And yet, when I'm driving on here, I don't have to fight the wheel. I'm not nervous about the car tramming all over the place. It does drive like a car, even though it's a big racing truck. And the suspension is just so sorted on the regular Rams. Independent front suspension, coil-sprung rear with multi-links. It's just, it rides great. So they didn't really have to do too much to improve upon the ride and the handling that was already there. It's just tuned to more extremes, but you don't lose the regular Ram 1500's qualities. I love it, to be honest. The TRX is always in 4-wheel drive. You can't put it into 2-wheel drive. There's an option for low range, so that's really great if you're in a particularly tight spot. There's also an electronic locking rear diff, so you're really not gonna really get this thing stuck in a matter of anything. And if you do, well, there's 12 inches of clearance all the time. There's no air suspension like in the regular Ram 1500. You're always riding high. And to be honest, if you are getting this thing stuck, where do you live, right? God. You can choose 3 different steering feels on here. There's Baja, there's Street, and there's Sport. Now in Sport, I did not expect it to be this precise and tight. It really actually feels like I'm driving a Challenger or a Charger Hellcat. Wouldn't have thought that would be possible in a vehicle this tall with all-terrain tires that, to be honest, should be giving me almost no feel and I should be darting all over the road, but Ram's dialed it in, they really have. And even though the Ram TRX belongs in an open field and requires lots of space, the little 2-lane road I'm driving on right now is actually all right. Now, I don't know if I'm scaring the other drivers in the other lane because of how wide this thing is, but I can keep it in the lane because the steering is good. The ride is good. Everything, to be honest, that was already good about the Ram 1500, because that's the truck, the best truck, I think, that drives most like a regular car. That carries over to the TRX. They've just amped up the performance like you'd find at, say, BMW M or Mercedes AMG. But like those companies, they keep the same core traits intact, they just turn it up. And Ram's done the same thing here, so that is a commendable job. What follows now is a lesson in power to weight ratios. Next to me is my director in his Audi S4. He's running a Stage 2 tune with almost 500 horsepower, and his whole car is about 3,000 pounds lighter. And this is what happens to guys like him who need a truck like this. And 3, 2, 1, go. The brakes are larger than a Porsche 911, 15 inches. And this is how it looks when you drop the anchor. It's a racing setup. There's a double wishbone up front with control arms the size of my arms, a 5-link coil spring in the rear, and adaptive dampers with nitrogen-filled reservoirs. Anything that would break on an ordinary pickup if you drove it off a building won't in the TRX. That's the selling point. 5 things you should know about the Ram TRX. The Ram TRX has launch control, as in launching to 60 miles an hour in under 4 seconds. The supercharger is larger than most engines. It weighs almost 7,000 pounds, and it can fly. There's a few good Easter eggs, and they troll the Ford Raptor, like this one, right underneath the center console. It gets 8 miles per gallon, so you'll be opening this door a lot. Fiat Chrysler now sells 5 vehicles with this Hellcat V8, but only the Ram TRX has this giant airbox. You can think of it as a big set of lungs, 29 liters in capacity, and what it does is filter out sand and other debris, clogging the supercharger and the engine air intake. Honestly, your water filter at home probably isn't this fine. Otherwise, it's basically the same big V8 you find in the Challenger, the Charger, the Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, and the new 2021 Durango. Now, it makes power the old-fashioned way. It's a big old racing drag engine. Big displacement, shove tons of air inside, and just flood the whole thing with gasoline. And it's warranted for 5 years. These lights on the hood scoop, they're not for show. The TRX, like the Raptor, is more than 80 inches wide, and federal law requires that any vehicle that wide wear 5 amber lights. You'll see 2 more on either fender. That's to warn drivers of normal-sized trucks, like a regular Ram 1500, that you just might sideswipe them, because this vehicle is 8 inches wider than a regular Ram. It's also 2 inches taller, so when you combine these adaptive LED headlights and you're driving at a normal height SUV, it's like the eye of God is basically flashing in the rearview mirror. You also get exposed tow hooks, very important, and these air curtains. You'll see that on normal vehicles, to improve aerodynamics and efficiency, because it allows the air to kind of duct through here, reduce turbulence in the wheel well, people at Ram actually want this to be fuel efficient. Who knew? The TRX comes only with the 5'7" bed and the crew cab. You only get these 18-inch wheels, but they're really cool looking, and you can get bead locks as an option. That's for the true hardcore off-roaders. Everyone, though, gets a Goodyear Wrangler all-terrain tire, and these are amazing in the snow, anywhere, to be honest. It's unstoppable. From the rear, well, kind of looks like a regular Ram, right? But the only difference, these 5-inch exhaust tips, and you can hear it coming, too. We've already shown you how amazing the Ram interiors are, and that's not an overstatement. They have the best interiors of any pickup truck, and they're just as good as many luxury SUVs. There's a kingly amount of space back here, heated and ventilated outboard seats, leather, beautiful leather by the way, super soft, Alcantara suede, real carbon fiber, aluminum, 4 USB ports, a power outlet. I fit 3 grown men back here, none of them complained. Tons of space. There's more craftsmanship in the front seats. Just this center console. Oh my God, I love how soft it is. These metal gear shift paddles, the feel of this shift lever. Gosh, even the stitching on these grab handles is art. Check out this VIN plate on the center console, or the metal paddle shifters, which are split in half to give your fingers more room to reach the stereo controls behind the spokes. It's only in black, or red and black, but you'll have every comfort imaginable. The 12-inch touchscreen is the biggest in the segment, and it's very easy to use. See my review of the Ram 2500 for the entire rundown. But the TRX has some exclusive features. You can chart the horsepower and torque, see your best drag run times, adjust the launch control for the best traction, customize your driving modes, and you can see how hot everything is getting. The instrument panel can be customized with gauges you choose, and nearly everything on the screen can be shown here or on the head-up display. If that's not enough, you can install lights, winches, and other accessories and wire them into the TRX without ripping the dash apart. That's what these 6 auxiliary switches are for. The TRX starts at $70,000. This one is $87,000, and it's a superb value. It competes against one other truck, and that truck is just as expensive. Consider the TRX as 4 vehicles in one: supercar, Baja 1000 race buggy, luxury sedan, and pickup. It won't fit in a garage. You'll have to build a new one around it. One day, we'll get a Ford Raptor and compare it against the TRX, but I already know how that video is going to end, the same way this one is right now. The TRX is just more extreme, faster, and better at everything. It's a totally stupid vehicle that'll cost you $100 every few days just to fill up, but I love it. You can try finding one right now at CarGurus.com, but the launch edition of this truck sold out within hours. And like anything with a Hellcat V8, the demand is always high. Subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel and tell us which new cars and trucks you want to see us review next. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.